All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, March 28th edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, joined by Big Marcel over there. Apologies for the technical difficulties. I literally spent the last 10 minutes trying to get this thing restarted. It just wouldn't let me show my face. I know you guys like my face. I couldn't get my camera working. So now it's good. We're good to go, Marcel. After me shaking my fist and screaming at the clouds for the last 10 minutes. So I almost pulled a Will Smith on Chris Rock here on my computer. So Marcel was pretty upset. But 5:10, we started 10 minutes late. Apologies for that, guys. My bad. Technical issues, though. Couldn't really do anything about it. Marcel, what's going on, man?
I just want to take a sip of my glass. Everything is good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. I apologize for these guys. Once again, absolutely out of my control. I was here 10 minutes ago waiting for this thing to start. It just couldn't get the camera going. Anyways, we're good to go now. And yeah, I am shaved. Cut my hair, shaved today. Got a little cut here. Actually, I nicked my face. That's my fault for shaving too quickly. But yeah, bald-headed guy, Marcel. And you know what, Marcel? You can make as many bald jokes about me as you want. I will slap you in the face, okay? So don't worry about that, buddy. We got some guys in the chat. We got Hype. We got Glenn. We got Joe's here as well. Joe, what's up, man? I saw your tweet. Sorry about that, buddy. It was a technical issue. Could not get it started until 10 minutes later. So I apologize for that, guys. Obviously, I always want to get started right at 5 o'clock, but there's literally nothing I could do. I was sitting there like, refresh, like nothing was working. So glad it worked out. We're here, Marcel. What's going on, man? How's everything? We had UFC Columbus. I'm looking forward to talking with you guys. I'm excited to talk about the card. I mean, some crazy upsets, obviously, a crazy card. Should mention that there is no UFC this Saturday. We have a week off. So what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to do fight announcements. So that'll be tomorrow's podcast. Today will be the recap. And then tomorrow, fight announcements, news. I also want to talk about the Will Smith, Chris Rock thing a little bit with Marcel today as well. But
I just see the angriness still in your face, man.
I know. Because I wanted to get started right at 10. You know what I mean, guys? So I apologize. Guys.
It happens, man. It happens.
But I'm here. Oh, it's too funny. Hey, Ryan, what's going on, man? I can't wait to see Adam and GIJ too. Dude, it's all good. You want to make a ball joke when we go ahead? Fat joke? I don't really care, honestly, Marcel. You know what I mean? Like, people take this stuff so seriously. Dude, I shaved it bald and I shaved my face. If you saw me this morning, I looked like I hadn't, cut my hair in a few weeks probably. So I feel good. I do it all myself too. I've been doing it for a few years myself, just doing it, save money that way, obviously.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Marcel, when I was like a single guy, I used to get expensive haircuts, look really nice, go find the ladies. But now my current fiance, funny enough, she's like, just cut it yourself. You're saving money for us. You spend more money on me. I'm like, okay. So it works out pretty good, Marcel. Anyways, I hope everyone's doing great. I'm doing pretty good. Like I said, I mean, we have the whole card to talk about, Marcel, UFC Columbus. So we're going to get into it. It's funny. So crazy card. I'm in this pool. I'm in a year-long pool, but they also do it quarterly. So every 3 months, there's a winner as well. I was actually second place by 1 point to a guy, and basically you get a point for each guy right in the main card, and you get an extra point for if you call a finish or a decision, right? So,
yeah.
So I was 1 point behind the guy, and there was another guy 3 points behind me. Okay, so I didn't even think he was going to come to matter. So I'm thinking, okay, first place, it's a nice $500. Second place, $150. It's not bad. It's just for the quarter, right? Like the year-long pie I think is like $2,000 or $3,000. It's pretty good. So, Marcel, I'm watching the card and all of a sudden, this guy below me, he had Diakiese by decision as an underdog. So he tied me. He tied me in the standings. And I'm 1 point behind the guy. So we're both tied, one guy ahead of us. He had Matt Brown by knockout. I had Bryan Barberena by knockout. The other guy tied with me had Bryan Barberena by decision. And of fucking course, Bryan Barberena wins, but it's by decision in an all-out war where they beat the shit out of each other. No one gets knocked out. I lose by 1 point. I tied for second place, $75. I went from 525 to 75 for 1 point. So, I like to keep a smile on my face because, like, what are you going to do, right? It is what it is. But, man, that sucked. I'm not going to lie, Marcel. I was like, how did no one get knocked out in this fight? So, it is what it is. But, yeah, I mean, otherwise, I'm doing good. I know I got this big smile on my face, but trust me, Saturday, I felt like crying, man. I'm like, really, guys? Like, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it's not like life-changing money, but it would have been nice. You know what I mean? I'm not sure, obviously. I think anyone would have liked $500 in their pocket, and I was 1 point away from winning it. So, it is what it is. Anyways, we're going to talk about this card here, Marcel. I mean, overall, I think it was a pretty good card, but not the best card, because I think the prelims were a little bit meh. And, to be fair, guys, we had a lot of decisions on this card, Marcel. 8 decisions. So, what do you think overall of the card before we get into the fights?
like I said earlier on the Dutch podcast earlier today, it's like many people have now high expectations. You come from the London card, which was arguably one of
Yes.
the best cards of the last 5 years. I can say that, and if you go to this card, this was a good card, but it didn't have the spectacular finishes. Yeah, Chris Gutierrez, but not the many spectacular finishes or performances that London had. So for me, this is still a 7. But London was maybe a 9 or a 9.5. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's what I said. I think I said
So
9.5 last week.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good card. It was a good card, but was nothing really spectacular besides maybe 2 or 3 performances.
I kind of agree. I mean, there was a couple of really good fights, obviously, and a couple of good finishes, but overall, it was okay. One of my buddies from the bookies.com website where I work full time, Dan, who I do my Twitter Spaces on Friday with, great guy. Just we've only been co-workers for a few months now, but really nice guy. I convinced him to go to Columbus, so it was his first UFC. He'd never been to a UFC card, and he said he had an amazing time, and I'm really happy for him. But I also feel like my first UFC card was like a way better card. You know what I mean? So it was still a good card, but and he had a great time, Marcel. But I know if it was even like if he was at the London card, imagine that was your first UFC. You know what I mean? So it was a good card, but it wasn't a great card, and that's just my honest opinion.
The thing is, the experience to be at a UFC event is really
right?
cool. You got to be at least once in your life.
Energy, right? I have a friend. He's a really good friend of mine. That I bowl with, actually, Marcel. I'm going to bowling right after this, and he's a really good friend of mine. And we befriended each other about 5 years ago. And when we found out we had a mutual love for MMA, and crazy enough, I mean, this guy watches every card. He's never been to a UFC card. And I keep telling him, you got to go, man. Nah, I'd rather watch on TV. I'm like, I get it. You get the best angle from TV, but the energy that you feel being with all those other fans cheering and screaming. Like, dude, I've seen some crazy fights live. Like, I saw the Korean Superboy fight, Cub Swanson. The crowd went insane for that fight. That fight was insane. Yeah. So, like, I've seen some really crazy ones. Or, like, Randy Couture got knocked out by Leona Machida. I saw that. Like, I mean, some crazy ones. And the crowd just goes crazy. Or how about where Carlos Condit dropped GSP with that head kick in Montreal? I was there for that fight. That was wild too, Marcel. And, like, you don't feel that through the TV sometimes, So,
yeah,
I just wanted to mention that.
It's that, and I mean, like, if you are afraid that you can't focus on the fights or cannot watch the fights well, you still can watch it afterwards at home. I rewatched the event that I saw in the arena the day after at home because I like to rewatch it as well. I want to see how it pops off on TV. For example, the best thing in the Netherlands over here wasn't even the fight; it was the walkout of Jermaine Durandamy. That was amazing. That was crazy. Even the commentators, I think Dan Hardy and I think John Anning or John Goonan, one of the two were there. They said it was absolutely nuts. It was an amazing walkout. And that's the thing you don't really get when you're at home. You know what I mean? You hear it, but it's not really popping.
I agree. Can you do me a favor, Marcel? Just retweet the tweet of the podcast if you don't mind.
It's because you asked so nicely.
I know. Thank you. Glenn said crazy the London bonuses didn't motivate him to go for finishes. Glenn, it was a little disappointing. Glenn Seal's decision, especially some of the first couple fights. No one wanted to fight. Like, we'll talk about those fights in a few minutes. Joe said his first card was Philly Gaethje Barboza. That's awesome, man. That was a good knockout too. All right, let's get into the card. Do you know what your picks? I went 7-5. I mean, it was honestly, I saw most people lost money. I was slightly profitable somehow. Most people lost money on this card. It was a tough card,
I know exactly. I know I think I had one main card fight, 2 main card fights wrong, and my prelims weren't great either. So I don't know exactly.
That's fair. And Glenn was saying for like the seats are expensive on the floor. It's true, Glenn. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, I went to Vegas a few years ago. It was like the upper deck was like almost $500 for like 2 tickets. You know what I mean? Which is expensive. My buddy I think he paid like $100 for floor seat. Depends where you go, right? Columbus, I don't think was that crazy, but I know London was probably a lot. And it was getting to the card. Main event, Marcel, we both called this one. I think most of us called this fight correct. I don't think it was a hard fight to call. Now, I thought the fight would go to the ground. I thought you finished with ground and pound, not by standing knockout. But honestly, not surprised because, again, Blaydes has good stand-up. We saw that against Junior Dos Santos, knocked him out. And Derek Lewis in that fight, Marcel, the first round, he looked really good in the feet until he got knocked out himself. So, I mean, Curtis Blaydes, I just think he's such a great fighter, man. I really do, guys. Like, he's still young, too. He's still in his prime, and he's only lost to Lewis and Nagano. 11-3-1 in the UFC. He's only 31 years old. He's still getting better. I really like Curtis Blaydes. I still think he could be a champion, Marcel. I mean, does that sound crazy? I think he could still be a champ. I don't think it's undoable. I think he's right there. Especially if Nagano leaves, it creates a realistic path for him to fight Stipe or Gon for a belt, and he probably could beat those guys. So I really like Curtis Blaydes, guys. I think he's a great fighter. This was obviously not the hardest matchup for him against the guy who's a lot smaller than him. And, after the fight, he told Daukaus, he's like, no shade, but I think you should go to 205 because you're not big enough for this division. He's right. Daukaus should go to 205. But either way, I mean, he beat a top 10 heavyweight, Marcel. So give me your thoughts on Blaydes. I think he's such a great fighter. I really do, man.
If you have a specialty, in a division that isn't that amazing, I think heavyweight is getting better, but it's not still that amazing. But if you have a specialty and that's your wrestling, but you also can put the strikes together, in your stand-up game, you're a real contender, man. I think, and Curtis Blaydes just sucks that he has 2 losses against Ngannou,
Yeah.
So as long as Ngannou's champion, he probably won't get an interim title fight or a title fight or whatever, So the thing is, if you look at Blaydes, the funny thing for me was he was talking to my colleague Dennis earlier this last week, and he was like, nobody respects my stand-up game, and back in the day I was really upset about it, but now I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm just doing what I can do, and that's it. After he stopped Daukaus, he was really like, yeah, you guys, I have a stand-up game. So I was like, you're still really bothered by it, but he shouldn't, man. He's a good fighter, and if you can control guys with your wrestling and you can out-wrestle them, that's okay, if you do that. You're probably not going to be a fan favorite, but that's okay, But what he did this time, I think he made a statement, I think he did very well. He wants Cyril Gane. I say give him the fight, man. I mean, I like the fight. I think it's amazing, so why not?
Me too. And Kenshiro says, don't make fun of my bald head Adam. We're going to slap you on stage. No, it's okay. Like I said, I'm all for the jokes. I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, my life's good, man. That's the thing. Like, we'll talk about that after. But let's go through the fights first, and we'll talk about that situation. And boarding my first card was actually in Auburn Hills, man, for the Rampage with Cheetah card, 123. That was the first one I saw in person. Anyways, Marcus says, what do you think the odds would be for Blaydes versus Stipe being gone? Hey, Marcus, first off, and it's a good question. Man, I think they'd be really tight odds, guys. I really do. I mean, I think Blaydes could be both of them, but, the perception is, Gane and Stipe are very good strikers with good wrestling skills. So
I think Blaydes will be favored against Gane purely based on the last fight against Ngannou with the wrestling of Ngannou, probably.
Yes.
But the thing is, I think Ngannou might have the physical power, I think Blaydes is just more technical, in his wrestling, But we'll see. But I think Blaydes will be favored over Gane. Over Stipe might be a pick him either, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think those are just really tight fights to call. I mean, I think they both make sense. I know Stipe was in the crowd and drinking beer. Stipe was drunk. Probably didn't want to go to. I was like, is he gonna? I thought he was gonna go to cage for that because he was walking Marcel. So I thought it was kind of funny. Let me see here. What else we got? I completely agree with Glenn. I mean, why would he Okay. I want to say this. He has a kid coming in June and the first week of June. So he told the UFC, I want to fight before my child's born, which makes sense. He wants to get a paycheck, but it's March. Why couldn't he have fought in April or May? Why not give him another month to recover? He just got brutally knocked out. 2 brutal knockout losses. Go ahead.
Adam, the thing is, it was short notice. UFC needed the main event, so they probably reached out to him. And he is like, I just lost to Lewis, If I can beat Blaydes, I'm right back up, and that loss to Lewis don't mean shit. You know what I mean? But now you got 2 back-to-back losses against top 5 guys. Is Lewis still top 5? Around top 5?
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah. So you won't get a high-ranked opponent anytime soon, probably. So
no. And Lewis is 5th. Yeah, he won't go down. He'll stay the same. Yeah. I mean, Daukaus can still beat some of these guys in the top 10, but honestly, the thing is, as you get here's the thing: the guys at the bottom end honestly aren't that good. Once you get to the top end, it's like you're fighting massive dudes that can wrestle and strike. It's just hard to beat these guys. I think Daukaus could beat a guy it's all matchup dependent, Marcel. I think he could beat Tai Tuivasa. So I think he could. Just saying, that's a matchup he could win because it's a stand-up fight and he has fast hands. But again, to me, he just doesn't look like a heavyweight. He's got I'm not one to talk, guys. I'm a big guy myself, but Daukaus has got a spare tire around his belly. You saw it in this fight, Marcel. He actually put on weight for this fight, and it wasn't good weight. It wasn't muscle. You know what I mean? It was just extra weight. And I guess he thought that was going to help him stop the takedowns, but it didn't matter. Just on the feet. I really like Chris Daukaus. I don't think his career is over by any means, but 2 straight brutal knockout losses. He's just he's going to have a kid. I think he takes the rest of the year off. I think he's going to get in shape and drop down 205, Marcel. That's my prediction for Chris Daukaus. I think you'll see him at the end of the year, maybe next year early at 205, because I don't think heavyweights. If you want to be a champion in the sport, you got to fight in the right weight class. And there's another guy, Kizriev, we'll talk about in a few minutes, Marcel. But I just think Daukaus 205 is his future. That's my opinion. And for Blaydes, like I said, he's right there. One more win, and he gets a title fight, I think. you guys think it was weird that DC tried to get Blaydes called Stipe? No, because I think it's a fight that it's a great fight, which makes sense. And Stipe hasn't fought in over a year now. It's been over a year since he stepped in the cage. So I think it's okay.
I'm really not a fan of DC always trying to implement his opinion on fighters by calling somebody out. It's really annoying to me, man. Some guys really don't want to do that. And he's like, who would you want to call out? This is your shot. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, it's like, how would you feel if we do that to you? You know, probably don't have to do that to you because you do it yourself, but that's just annoying to me. You know, but there are many fighters who just don't like to do that. So don't try to put your opinion on them.
I agree. Ryan said just Ryan, it's all good. I think it's hilarious, man. Personally, I mean, I shaved it it was kind of on purpose too for like today's show. To be honest with you, I could have shaved it tomorrow. Dude, Stipe ate Tuvesa, Blaydes was gone. Yeah, I think those fights make sense. Daukaus, I mean, he's had brutal match. I'm like, you know, guys like we talk about some of these Marcel, like some of these guys get like Trevin Jones. Look at the first 4 guys he's fought.
Jai Herbert,
brutal matchmaking, like almost unwinnable fights at some. You know, for Herbert, these fights were like just like except for Worthy, which was an easy fight, I guess. But the other guys were just so hard. So, and then you got a guy like O'Malley who just, he's fighting guys on ranks, or he beat Paiva, I guess. He was ranked at the time, but hey, May Walker, what's going on, man? Yeah, I know. I got all these toys. I got to switch them up. I got some extra ones. I had these for 2 years. That's cool. That was the missus's idea 2 years ago when the COVID thing started. I needed like a background Marcel. So got Kishore was asking who hits our Daukaus or Will Smith, and probably Daukaus. I mean, Chris Rock took that slap like a champ, and we're going to talk about that.
I saw who Will Smith had training with, so probably Daukaus.
Yes, we saw that. Okay, so let's go to the next fight. I think we all were picking Grasso. I mean, it was a great matchup for her, but I didn't think she submitted her. It's her first career submission, right? It's her first time ever.
Yeah.
But Joanne Wood, Marcel, she has been submitted 5 times in the first round of the UFC. 5 times in the first round in the UFC. She has horrible submission defense. It's so bad. And, I was listening to her, like, media day this week, guys, and she was saying, like, they were asking, like, what were you working on at camp? And she's like, camp was good because I just worked on my boxing. I didn't really have to work my ground game. I'm just like, okay, that wasn't a good idea. And you saw what happened in this fight. She got washed. To be fair, she's lost to Grasso, Santos, and Murphy. They're all good fighters, but she's not competitive anymore, Marcel, to be honest with you. Like, well, I guess the Murphy fight was very close, but she did not look competitive the last 2 fights. And I feel like, guys, age 36, a lot of wars, a lot of damage. Marcel, I started to think that, this could be at the end of her run, I guess, is like a top 10 fighter. I think she's a gatekeeper now, guys. I really do. What do you think, Marcel?
I think I hate to say that I think she's on a huge decline,
She is.
And I mean, this was probably her last chance to still keep relevant in the division. You know what I mean?
Yep.
She got completely. I mean,
nothing
was there. Yeah, it wasn't even close. And I mean, Alexa Grasso has looked pretty good in her since her coming to flyweight. So I really like that, and I hope the UFC matches her with Fiorot next because all the others are booked.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to tell you why. I don't think they'll do it. And I'm going to tell you why. Like, why? Because here's the reason why.
I understand.
She was second on the card, and this girl's last on the card. I think they're going to give her a bigger push, Grasso. That's what I think.
You know what I think, Adam? They just don't going to do it because they already have less contenders to fight Valentina.
And that too. So, you want to keep them like separated. So yeah, she could. I mean, Grasso might just like wait it out and get the winner of Santos Valentina. I think that could happen. Also, I know there's I think it was Born Again. You were saying last week you think Santos. I think Santos has a chance to win that fight too. But after seeing JoJo get worked this fight, I'm just starting to wonder like how good is Santos, because she did look amazing in that fight, but now it's like, okay, it was JoJo. She looked great against McCann too. She's looked great in general, but I'm just saying, like, after seeing how easily JoJo got washed, I need to like reevaluate Santos a little bit. That's all I'm saying. But I do think she has a good chance to win that fight. I really do. Yeah, JoJo looked terrible. I mean, at this point, Joe, like, she's a gatekeeper. I think they might give her someone like at the bottom end of the top 15 to like try to boost that person, to get them up a little bit. I get some other questions here. I blame myself for not seeing. I know Grasso by sub was like plus 800, and it's just something I didn't think because she's never subbed anyone. But it could always happen, right? It's MMA, and JoJo's terrible ground game. This is just bad. And I think Andrew, I think this is a good call. O'Neal is fighting Jess Guy. They just announced that fight a few days ago. I'm not sure if you saw that, but even if she won that fight, she could fight JoJo, who I believe is still ranked pretty highly despite the losing skid. Man, I mean, I think I faded all 3 too. I think I have as well, man. So we all have. We've made some money on her, which is good. JoJo is very temperamental and unpredictable based on her mood. Cheptegei murder. I mean, that fight wouldn't have been close. It's crazy. A few years ago, before she lost to Jennifer Maia by the armbar, if she had won that fight, she would have got the title shot, Marcel. So it's crazy the fall from grace for her. So, oh, sorry. This guy, he had a question. Peter DeBeer, he's asking about, we know what this says. It can be top 10, maybe, but he doesn't fight that much. That's the problem. He's barely fought, man. Like that fight with Abdul Razak Al Hassan, which was like his coming out part, was 2 years ago. And he had one fight since then, Marcel? Mm-hmm. He's had one fight and he lost. Yeah. And he lost, right? Yeah. So, genuine question, Marcel from Dutchman. I know you're a big fan of Askarov and Sambo, guys. Is Sambo your favorite martial art? Don't talk about Askarov, but can you answer that question quickly?
Not a particular, man, but I just like certain fighters who I think are just really good at scrambling on the ground, and I really liked it from Askarov, for example. So that's and I follow Askarov since his early ACB days. So I always liked him. He's a special athlete as well. He got the gold medal at the Deaf Olympics a few years ago. He's like he only here for 20%, I think, because he's partially deaf. He's a special athlete, man. I'm a really big fan of Askarov. So
he's good. And then Hype saying Gilbert Blanchfield. They could do that fight. All right, let's go to the next fight here. I mean, this fight right now, I think it's the best fight of the year. Bryan Barberena and Matt Brown. I love this. I loved every second of this fight. I love fights that are up close with elbows and nasty in the clinch. Those are some of my favorite fights, Marcel. Again, I'm you guys heard me at the beginning. Like I'm pissed because I needed to finish to win that pot, but it's all good. I still came in second play. I mean, it's not. I didn't lose money, but I didn't win either. So I mean, I won a little bit, $75. It's nothing like what I could have won. Anyways, it's not bad. But the point is, like, I was just amazed. I was amazed both guys didn't get knocked out. Go ahead.
You'd rather win $75 than lose $75. So
absolutely, for sure. I'm just saying, like, I'm still in second place in the pool, and first place is a lot. So next year, you guys should definitely join the pool. I think maybe some of you guys are in it, but we have like 40 guys in it this year. It was really good. So I'll make sure to send that invite in December when I'm doing the pool again, and recruit some of you guys to join. It's really fun. But I love this fight. I loved every second of this fight. I did think Barberena won the fight. I thought he won. I think it was round 2 and 3. It comes down to the third round, but I think he won that round. He landed way more significant strikes. I know Brown, I think, had a takedown, but the significant strikes outweighed. I was surprised that the judges in his hometown gave it to him, but I'm really happy they did because it's the right scorecard. So I love this fight. Bryan Barberena's a free agent now, which is crazy. And he's like saying, if the UFC doesn't want me, like, why would they not want this guy? I mean, every fight is just a war. These are two of my favorite guys, Marcel, in the UFC in any division. I love watching both these guys fight. I know Matt Brown saying if you want a rematch, you can do it. I wouldn't mind a rematch because it's such an amazing fight, but I'd imagine Bryan Barberena will get matched up with someone a little bit higher up the food chain. And Brown, I mean, I think if he had won this fight, he'll retire, but because he lost such a close fight, I think he'll have that itch to get one more, Marcel. So give me your thoughts on this fight, man, because right now I think it probably is the best fight of the year. So what do you think?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago we had the best round of the year with McKinney against Dober. And now we got best fight of the year. So yeah, it was amazing. And the thing with Brown is, man, Brown I don't know if you saw the interview with my colleague earlier, but he was talking about his nickname, the Immortal, and my colleague was like, "Why you're called the Immortal?" He's like, "Because I did crazy stuff when I was younger, And when my friends took 2 shots, I took 4 shots. When my friends took 5 lines, I took 10. Crazy stuff, And he didn't want that nickname, but promoters gave it to him, so it stuck with him. Yeah. Brown is amazing, He's an old school guy. Comes to scrap. I love seeing him fight, and he mixes in with takedowns as well. Beautiful trips what he had. Barberena, I love Bryan Barberena. He's great. Also always comes to scrap. Has a pretty good cardio, a little bit better than Brown's. He come forward as well. The thing for me is the first round I had for Matt Brown. The third round I had for Barberena. The second round was for me the 50-50 one, but I slightly leaned to Barberena, but it was very close. I wouldn't have minded if it went the other way. But the boos kind of annoyed me, man. I mean, I understand your hometown guy loses, but you got to have respect for the opponent, man.
Yeah, that was classless. I mean, I get it. They're upset because they want their guy to win, but I don't think they're pissed at Barberena. They're both pissed at the judges, really. I don't think it's Barberena.
And it was kind of the whole night, man. With when Russians were fighting, man, they're gonna chant USA, USA. Are we brain dead?
We'll talk about that fight in a second.
Are we brain dead?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that fight in a second. I'm just seeing some comments here. I mean, 125 is great. The women's 125. MMA Locker Rooms that mentioned XMMA, that is a good card. We'll talk about it a little tomorrow. We can talk about that card tomorrow. Beater, I see your question about UFC 273. I'm not taking them today. It's not because I don't want to answer them, but I haven't looked in the card at all, and I can't give you I'm not going to give you any analysis for that card yet. I know there's some huge favorites on it, but give me a week. We'll be back next Tuesday, and we'll break down that whole card for you guys. I just can't give you analysis because I really haven't looked at the fights deeply enough. I can give you my my initial take, but they're not going to be as good as next week. Yeah, I know what Daniel's saying about the booze. Not great. All right, so we'll talk about the fight now. Kara-France and Askarov. Well, I told you guys last week don't bet on Askarov. So if you did, I'm sorry, but you didn't listen to me. And I told you, Marcel, I mean, this fight was going to be close. I didn't know if he'd win or not, but I told you minus 400 was a bad line on this guy again because he was like minus 150 against Benavidez. All of a sudden, he's minus 400. No respect to France. I think this fight was close. Honestly, my honest opinion, I didn't want to go on Twitter too much about it because people were really upset that night. I thought Askarov won the third round barely, because I think the back take is something that they don't include in the stats. And to me, that is effective grappling when you take someone's back. And I don't think Kara-France did a lot. I know the numbers say he outstruck him. I get it, but when I was watching it live, it didn't seem that way. Honestly, it seemed like he missed a lot of the punches. I'm not upset with this decision because, again, I just wish I took the plus 400. I was so close to picking him, Marcel. You heard me last week. I was like, man, I really want to. I just couldn't. So it is what it is. I mean, I hope some of you guys did bet on Kai because he won. Listen, Marcel, at the end of the day, regardless of what you think of the decision, there was no value in Askarov minus 400 or 500. True. None. The odds were stupid. And that's what happens sometimes, guys. This is why parlaying a bunch of big favorites, it burns you sometimes, That's why, everyone keeps saying for the next card, they're like, oh, we're going to parlay the three guys, Volkanovski, Kamaev, and Yan. I'm just saying, slow your roll. Just chill because you never know, man. It's MMA, judges, bad judging, or not even bad judging, just close fights, controversial judging, injuries. All this stuff can happen in MMA. I keep warning people to lay off the big favorites. No one does it, but it is what it is because everyone kept betting on Askarov. The line was crazy. I think Kara-France closed at like minus 400, 425. So if you guys took it, congrats. I was so close to picking it, Marcel. I was so close. At the end of the day, man, like I said, I thought Askarov barely edged out the third round, but I'm not pissed by the decision because I think the fight was super close and it is what it is. And I do think it was like one of those things where all the momentum of the second round played with the judges and the crowd hearing them boo Askarov and cheer France swayed the judges too. I think that also happened. So again, I think it was in the apex. Maybe you saw a different decision. I don't know. Give me your thoughts on this one. I know you're pissed, so give me your thoughts, man.
I wasn't pissed, man, but the thing is, I got so many shit for my scorecards that whole night that I just didn't put up my scorecard for this one after the second round. The thing was, the first round was a clear round for Askarov. Yeah, the second round was for Kara-France. The third round, in my opinion, the only significant thing that happened was his back take. Yeah, over Kara-France. And Kara-France fought forward, and Askarov fought backward, and he kept punching very wildly the whole damn time, very uncontrolled, in my opinion. And yes, of course, he touched Askarov a few times, but I mean, the thing is, the crowd were cheering for him, and when Askarov did something, they were booing. Yeah, and that heavily influenced the decision, in my opinion. And I think it was close. It was definitely not a robbery. You could give it to Kara-France. I don't have a problem with it, but it kind of feels nasty to lose a decision like this when you're on the feet and you're on the brink of a title fight. You know what I mean? Yeah. But on the other hand, Askarov should have done more, in my opinion, as well. He was too hesitant sometimes, and he was. Somebody said like he had a Russian round, and with the Russian round, it's like you're coasting a little bit too much, and it's a little bit. He pretty much does what Olembekov does many times, when he thinks I'm having what Subara Tuhukov did against Hakeem Dawodu, for example, You shouldn't do that, man. You're not fighting in Russia. You're not going to get the advantage that you maybe get sometimes in the Russian promotion when you're fighting a Brazilian, for example. You're in the US, you're fighting a guy who is from New Zealand, and you don't have the judges on your side. And sometimes, listen, man, I don't want to say there's biased judging, but you have more chance to win in Dagestan and fight as a Dagestani against a Brazilian than you have as a Dagestani in the US with the style he has, So you have to go. You have to be active, and I can't blame the judges for scoring it for Kara-France, the third round. I still think it was a much closer fight than many people thought,
Me too. I think it's super close.
Man. Yeah, you can give it either way, I wouldn't have mind if you gave it to Askarov. I wouldn't have mind give it to Kara-France, So for me, it's like, we shouldn't talk too much about it. I think I talked a little bit too much probably already about it, but I just wanted to make myself clear. But I didn't give my scorecard for this one because I would have got shit on, man, on Saturday.
Yeah, people were asking me too, and I just said I think it was just close and it could go on. Because here's the thing. Me and Marcel, we're gonna give our opinion, but we're not actually judges. So why would you get angry at us? That's the thing that doesn't make any sense. We're journalists. Like, it doesn't make sense, honestly, because we're not the actual ones judging the fight, guys. So like when people get upset at me, I'm like, okay, like that's what I thought happened. You know what I mean? But again, we're not actually judging the fight.
I always love it when they say, "Thank God you're not a judge." Yeah,
I'm like, he's not a judge. He's a
journalist. I'm just giving my opinion, and I have an opinion, and that just matters for one thing. That's just one opinion, and it doesn't matter shit. But I just like to share
Marcel, you're a popular guy. You know what I mean? So people they're going to look for ways to criticize you when they can. And same with me. You know what I mean? It happens. It is what it is. When you live in the public life, we're both like public Twitter accounts. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like people are going to. If you disagree with us, they're going to go after us. It's what it is. That's part and parcel with being a journalist. And I'm used to it, and I have thick skin. I've been doing this for 12 years. It wouldn't have survived this long in this industry if I don't have thick skin, Marcel. You know what I mean? I know you're the same way. So
the thing is, there were so many close fights on this card, and I was scoring like the opposite with many fights. You know what I mean? So the thing is, many people were like, "You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong." It's like I'm not wrong. I'm just having a different opinion, about certain things. But.
Let me get these comments. Let's see what other people said.
For sure.
Marcus said he thought Askarov won 1-3. He said Kai spent a lot of time in the third backpedaling until the last 2 minutes. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, honestly. But again, the judges forgot about the back take. They just didn't even consider it really. Which I think that is effective grappling. I really do. And a lot of people are just forgetting that it's effective striking and effective grappling. It's not just effective striking; it's both combined. And then if that's tied, you go to octagon control and aggressiveness. But people just forgetting that. Anyways. Nice job getting the bet there, buddy. Devin saying the defense. I mean, I talked about last week. I said it was much improved, but that first round, I think that it's the same as Bontarine fight. When you have a guy with that body lock, it does tire your legs out, Marcel. It makes you tired.
I tell you, Adam. No disrespect to Cara France, dude has no chance against Figgy and Moreno, man, because these two go hard for 5 rounds.
By the way. This fight should have been 5 fucking rounds. We needed those 100%. Extra 2 rounds. That's why I'm angry because
100%.
We needed it because we didn't need Daukaus Blaydes for 5 rounds. We needed this fight because this is what happened when you fucking did it for 3. Then you had a controversial decision and everyone's angry and they're not sure if this guy actually won. I mean, a lot of people did think. I'm just saying, like, if you had the other 2, Marcel, it would have been pretty clear, I think, who the winner was. You know what I mean? So
I honestly think in the 5-round fight, Cara France looked much more fresher than.
He probably would. He would have won, I think. For sure. He looked great in that third. Like, I mean, the cardio, and he was not tired at all. So yeah, I mean, the takedown even is awesome. Hey, biker, what are you saying? Doesn't have to do with the no UFC. Yeah, I mean, the misses are probably going to take a trip. That's what I'm talking about. They're going wait for a couple days.
Cage Warriors.
So, Cage Warriors is on. There's an XMMA card. There's other MMA. There's a March Madness basketball. Thought Kai won. Yeah, and he's close. Peter's saying they should have Cara France's title fight in France for the memes. That's hilarious. Maybe they'll do it. Askarov busts his parlays. I mean, I think everyone. Oh, Peter, there's no worries at all, man. We love the questions. I'll take any questions you want. I'm really happy that you're subbing to our podcast, man. You're listening and you're enjoying it. That's awesome. It's just that I really haven't looked enough at 273 yet. I haven't, so I just don't want to give an opinion too early. Next Tuesday, we're going to break down the whole card. Be here for an hour, breaking down the whole card. All right, let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. Neil Magny versus Max Griffin, another really close fight. I mean, I think the judges honestly had their work cut out for them on this card. I mean, other than the next fight or next 2 fights that were clear, these decisions were very close, hard decisions to judge. I mean, in my opinion,
I don't know.
I thought Magny won round 2 and 3, so I thought he won 29-28. But I think this was also a very close fight. You thought Griffin won, eh?
The thing is, man,
the
first round was pretty clear for Griffin. The third
easily
round was pretty
dropped
clear
him.
for Magny.
Dude, he dropped him. Yeah, for sure.
1 and 3 were clear, and Magny, maybe you even could give him a 10-8 in the third round. Was very close. I didn't.
Yeah,
but the second round, I feel like most people only watched the last minute, by giving it to Magny because Griffin did well in the early stages. Halfway was a little bit more close. Magny did good in the last minute, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I think he didn't do enough to steal the round from Griffin, in my opinion. So I went 29-28. Griffin didn't really mind if you gave it to Magny, same as the last fight. People were going to get crazy again, like, how can you score that second round for Griffin? Well, rewatch the fight, so maybe it makes a little bit more sense. I even said scores 29-28 Griffin, 29-28 Magny, 28-28 draw, 29-27 Magny. All 4 possible, all 4 defensible.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think the second round was close. It could have gone either way, honestly. Like, I think, it really could have gone either way. I feel bad. I put the stat on Twitter, by the way. So,
the split.
Yeah. So Max Griffin's been 3 split decisions, lost them all in the UFC. Here's the other crazy stat. You know, Magny's been to decision 15 times in the UFC, Marcel? 15 times. He's 13-2 in decisions in the UFC. If you count his early fights in his career, 16-2. If you count his fights on the Ultimate Fighter that went to decision, 19-2 Magny in decisions. You can't beat this guy by decision. It's almost impossible. Seth Baczynski did it years ago, and there was one other guy that beat him by decision I'm forgetting about right now. Who was? Let me double check. It was Seth Baczynski, and it was Michael Chiesa last year with the wrestling. That's it. Everyone else he's beaten by decision. It's almost impossible to beat this guy by decision. Whereas Max Griffin, Marcel, I'm sorry, man, but if you look at his career, he has so many close decision losses. It's just like, it must be so hard for him to sleep at night because the judges fucking hate this guy. I'm looking at his career right now in the UFC. He has lost almost all his fights by like split decision it's
that,
crazy.
That Alves fight still.
I mean, that was horrible. I bet on him in that fight. I'm so angry, Marcel. I know it was in Brazil, but I was pissed.
By the way, for people thinking like I picked Magny, I think I did pick Magny in the breakdown, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think we both did. Let me just look at these comments. We had Joe said Magny. That's what I thought. Magny landed. Yeah, I thought so slightly. Max Griffin surprised me. Andrew saying didn't understand why they made the fight in first place. Yeah, because Max is underrated, but I think they had to do the fight because Neil needed a fight. He hadn't fought in about a year. Max was like the only guy available. Neil will fight anyone. You know what I mean? So, and he called like Kamayev right after. He's like, I want Kamzat, even though he's got that fight coming up. He won't get that fight, but West Coast says Griffin because you bet on Marcel didn't. He bet on he picked Magny. I don't think he bet
picked on Magny. Yeah,
yeah. I know some people did bet on Griffin. They lost. They were pissed. It is what it is. There was good value at plus 240. It was good value. Apart from the Brown for every decision with the crowd phase. Yes, that is true.
Listen, just for the record, I don't score fights on what I've picked. I don't.
Yeah. We're just trying to be neutral, and same with me. I mean, I get it, but it's going to be something everyone will always. Marcel, I'm telling you right now, from now until the day you die, people are always going to say if they disagree with your card, you probably bet on the guy. They'll always say that to you. So just ignore it.
If I'm biased in a fight, I don't even put on my scorecard. You know what I mean?
True. I mean, listen, everyone's got some instinctual bias. I get it, but I really try to be because here's the thing. What's the point of me saying the other guy won? So I can go and be like, oh, I should have won my money. I've been betting on the sport for 12 fucking years. Bad decisions are part of it, man. It happens, you know.
There are people doing that on Twitter, man.
West Coast said he bet on Griffin, but he lost. He thought he lost. Yeah, I thought so too. Devin saying, okay, so here's the thing with the 10-8. I'm just saying by the stats, because I thought it was 10-9. I'm looking at the stats right now. Magny only landed 12 significant strikes in the third round. He did have 4 minutes of control, but he didn't do anything damage-wise. He did land 59 total strikes, so he was landing a little bit on the ground with the small ones, but I think 10-9 is fine. Either way, I think the decision's okay. I mean, it's just another close fight. If it went the other way, Marcel, I was not going to freak out. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been like whatever. So, in my opinion, A-Loco saying Kamzat would maul Magny. I mean, I think all of us would agree with that. Griffin is Auguste. You know, I definitely listen, he's fighting literally the best guy with the best cardio in the division, right, Marcel? Like, Magny's got the best cardio at 170, right?
He has great cardio, yeah.
Or maybe not the best. I mean, Usman's there, obviously, Covington, but he's one of the better guys, especially in a 3-round fight. Like I said, it's hard to beat him. But I think Max, he tired himself up because of all the side-to-side movement. It was really nice to watch, though, man. He had a great game plan in that first round. Side-to-side, Magny could not touch him and then drops him and then gets tired, so it happens. By the way, this guy's saying Lever, Shavkat, Rakhmonov. This is a real fight? June 11th?
Not that I know, but
well, I mean, this guy's broken a lot of fights in our channel, man. So maybe maybe check after, or even now if you want.
Oh man, I got a meme here. It appears Will Smith's marriage is open to everything except jokes.
I know, it's pretty funny. We'll talk about him at the end. Kamzat kills Magny unless he gasses after 2 Magny survives 5 rounds. Yeah, Magny and Gunnar would be fight makes sense. Although I think Magny should get a ranked guy. I mean, he just fought an unranked guy and beat him. Magny Holland would be good. Or they give Holland the per-entry. All those fights are okay. Last fight in the main card, Mark Diakiese beats Slava Borshev. Like I said, Marcel, this one hurt me in the pool because if our guy won, Borshev, but I had a feeling like this could be a tough fight for him. I didn't bet him here because again he's untested, right, against a guy like this that's good cardio. I didn't expect Diakiese to land 11 takedowns. This guy looked like fucking Khabib against Abel Trujillo. If you remember that fight, Marcel, we had like 20 takedowns. That's what it reminded me of. It's just easy as hell. Slava's guy, we said he had a good get-up game. He does, but not in this fight. And he got controlled, smothered. It was a boring fight, but the guy did what he had to do to win. And I have no problem with the way he fought. So what's your thoughts on this one, Marcel?
I can blame Mark Diakiese, like I said as well on Twitter earlier that night. I mean, dude was on a 2-fight losing skid. He already was before in the UFC in a 3-fight losing skid. Then saved his job by defeating Duffy after that, winning against Lando Venada, and then losing 2 times again. So probably if he lost this one against Borchev, he was gone. I think he was gone, And the thing is that I really feel that the UFC was setting him up to lose to Borchev, And he fought smart. He fought really smart. He just took him down and he outgrounded him. He made me laugh in the 3rd round when the crowd went booing. He went booing with them. It's like boo back. So it's like, and I'm out of whoop. Yeah. So I understand that people don't like to watch it, but what he had to save his job there, and he did. So I can only be good. I only think that's great, And I think Diakese lacked in his ground game many times in the UFC, And to see his growth, and actually he used high fight IQ in that fight, And I think that's really good. So yeah, shout out to Diakese, man.
He fought smart again. I can see why people were pissed by the,
Me too,
honestly, it was lay and praying. He was, but the ref didn't stand it up. He kept moving position. He only landed 17 significant strikes in the fight. That's the thing, right? But he did a great job controlling. 12 minutes of control time. It was a good performance by him, I think, as an underdog especially. So he did a good job, man. It wasn't an exciting fight, but he did the win. The only thing I'll say is there was so much bonus money out there. There's so much bonus money out there heading into the main card. He could have won a bonus if he had, got a finish. And it is what it is. Was a game plan. I agree. The grappling was nice. Fading Diakese next time he gets out, maybe. Yeah.
By the way, Slava's the only Russian who got applauded there in that arena.
The only booing Slava because he's in the parlay is true. Yeah, I think the fans like him. Going to the prelims here, Sarah McMahon defeats Carol Rosa. Rosa. Wow, I get it. McMahon's a great wrestler, but I think she could have finished her in the 3rd round, just couldn't get it done. It's a bad loss for Rosa, I think, Marcel, to a 41-year-old. She's a good prospect, I guess, but the ground game are kind of exposed to her. I get it. McMahon's a great wrestler, but, McMahon's lost so many times in that 3rd round. I think she could have put her away and she just didn't fight smart. She could have, separated and went for distance and tried to, knock her out, but instead kept going to the ground with someone. I don't know, Marcel. I know that she got a lot of sub-losses, McMahon, but, Rosa's a striker, and, in that 3rd round, I think she should have kept the fight standing. It is what it is. She lost. If you bet on McMahon, I think it was a good bet. Looking back, she was plus 200 as an underdog. Any thoughts on this one?
Man, McMahon did what she had to do in the first 2 rounds, and she got the 10-9 rounds. And that the 3rd round, man, Rosa tagged her, and then she showed her full 20 fight IQ, by going into her guard while she is down 2 rounds. What are you doing? Let her stand up. No, we're going into her guard. And McMahon was like, come in my guard. Thank you. You saved me here. 29-28. I'm going to win. I'm going to ride this out. Thank you, Cara Rosa. So very smart game plan by her. And that's actually, that's not sarcasm. What the hell, man? Let her up. You're fighting an Olympic former silver medalist. And you have to win by finish after you losing clearly the first 2 rounds, and you're gonna sit yourself in her guard. And what you would think you're gonna do there, as a striker, it's just super stupid. Yeah. She showed a whole 20% fight IQ there, and I don't know, man. I was kind of pissed, man. I was like, what are you doing? You didn't even try.
She could have forced a draw even with a 10-8 round,
Yeah, but I listen, man, I know I sound like a couch cunt now, but it's pretty obvious, if you're 2 rounds down, you're a striker, she's the grappler, you're not going to grapple with somebody who you just staggered in the 3rd round. But hey, what can you do? Good win for McMahon. And McMahon keeps getting these wins now and then, and it keeps her keeps her in the ranking.
She called your girl Jermaine Durand to be next. That's the fight she wants.
That's not going to happen.
Probably not, because Jermaine's got some stuff going on. But it's a good call though. It makes sense.
Yeah, why not?
McMahon Craftsy showed such fear in her eyes at times. Yeah, McMahon did a good job showing against Payne in her last fight. She did. She won that 1st round. I think the UFC lets McMahon fight her a contract, lets her walk. Maybe because she's not really exciting. And she just beat your best prospect, one of them. McMahon, she looked huge. She looked jacked. I was watching the fight with the Nita, and Nita's like, she's like, did I pick her? I'm like, no, you picked Rosa. She's like, man, why did I not pick her? She's so jacked. That's what she said, because we watched the weigh-ins and Nita points left or right. And the crazy thing is, I do all this research all week. She ends up fucking landing on the guy I picked. She's like, yeah, that guy. And I'm like, that's the guy I picked too. Like, you didn't even research it. So it's funny. She's jokes. Yeah, McMahon's she's one of the better wrestlers, no doubt about it. But again, I still think at 41 years old, there's not much time left for her. She's going to have to fight for the belt next year if she's going to ever win it, which I don't think she'll win it. But there is a new champion in the division, right? So it's possible. She did well against Pena before that late finish. All right, let's go to the next fight here. My boy and your boy, Chris Gutierrez. Bang! Underdog winner, baby. We got it. So, I mean, listen, I this was the one dog I felt like by far the most confident in the card, Marcel. I told you guys if he didn't get knocked out in the first round, which was sketchy as fuck at the end of the first round, got thrown to the ground, ground and pounded. I'm like, oh my God, is this guy going to recover? But that second round, spinning back fist knockout, wins a bonus, 7-fight unbeaten streak. I love everything about El Guapo, Marcel. I love this guy. Such a great striker. Seems like a really cool dude. He's due for a top 15 guy. I think this was the fight that was going to elevate either one of these guys, and Gutierrez showed that he's ready for the next step. He called out Frankie Edgar, called out Sean O'Malley. I don't know if he gets those fights, but man, he absolutely deserves a top 15 guy. Great comeback, I guess. I mean, it really wasn't like a comeback. Other than the last 10 seconds, it was pretty competitive, but he got hurt. He got hurt there at the end. It was an amazing knockout anyways. Give me your thoughts, man.
I mean, the first round, the thing was Gutierrez kept moving on the ground when he was, and that's why he was able to get to the end of the first round. Yeah, and he did great, man, in the second round. Pretty much we called it like the first round will be probably Bacharel Danas or Dana Bacharel. But after that, Gutierrez, as longer the fight goes, it favors him, and it did. And he actually finished it in the second round. So, yeah, good win for him. And, man, I would love to see him fight Sean O'Malley, for example. But they're not going to do that.
I think he could win that fight. I really do.
Yeah, they're going to do that, man.
It won't be that fight. Why would they
maybe they let them fight Carlo Phillips, for example. So
that would be a good fight, too, actually. I mean, any of those fights, I think, Marlon Moraes is like 14th. He could fight him and beat him, I think.
Asansa.
Was shocked and always the favorite. I mean, it was. I think it closed pretty close, but at the beginning of the week, Gutierrez was like plus 130, plus 140. It was great value when we talked about it. Yeah, it did feel good. I mean, it was nice. Like I said, I had a slight winning night, partly because of this dude. Let's go to the next fight here. Kizriev defeats Tulunin by submission. I mean, we all thought this was going to. The guy was minus 1250. Like he was the biggest favorite in the card. Marcel gets the finish. Here's the thing, guys. I was saying something this on Twitter last week. Someone was like, "Man, all these huge favorites, right?" And I'm like, I know, but you can still find value if you look close enough. And again, in this fight, round 2 finish for this guy was plus 500. So if you figured Tulunin could maybe make it out of that first, he'd probably still get finished the second, plus 500. The guy was minus 1250. So there is value out there. You have to look hard. I thought we would in the first round be completely fair, but if you took that second, if you thought Tulunin could survive 5, and the striking exchanges, Marcel, he got hurt a little bit in that striking exchange at one point in the first round. But the guy ate it, and after the fight says he's going to drop to 170. Here's the thing: he's only 5'9". I looked at the stats, guys, because someone doubted me on this. I looked at the stats. Someone was like, "There's tons of stocky guys." I'm like, "Are you sure about that?" I looked at the stats. Only 3 guys and shorter than him: Kelvin Gastelum and Deron Wynn. And it says Buckley on Wikipedia, but I looked at UFC stats and they have Buckley at 5'10", not 5'8" on Wikipedia. So I'm not sure if he's 5'8" or 5'10". Either way, there's only 2 or 3 guys shorter than this guy at 185. He's like Hector Lombard. He has to drop down. So 170, I think he's going to be a killer. It's going to be like another Kamzat. This is crazy. Great addition. Quick thoughts on this fight because we've got a few more to talk about.
I always have to laugh when I see Kizriev because he has always that look like, what did I do? What did you call me with? So, I mean, the first round, I think Yulin didn't do bad at all in the first round, Second round, the moment he had the back take, it was so quick and so slick, He had him, So a good win. And this was an expected win for Kizriev. He knew he had to win this one. And, good win for him, I love to see him a weight class down.
For sure. And I think Tulunin is actually pretty good. And I think I know his record's 10-6. It sucks, but he's actually not bad. I think he win some fights. And this guy Boring say every Monday we say,
that's true.
It's true. No, you're right. I mean, this division's stacked. I said on the weekend, like best division. Peter saying I've always wanted a Cyborg steroids. I mean, like she did get caught for it at Strikeforce, like I want to say 2010.
Against Yamanaka.
Yeah, and then fight got overturned. Also, he was asking about Adrian Yanez. That's another guy that deserves a top 50.
Yeah.
Yanez is, I mean, all these guys. It's crazy. This division's so ridiculous. You combine the UFC and Bellator's 135, best weight class in the sport right now, I think by far. It's amazing. A couple more fights here. Menon Few. I mean, I don't understand.
Just the Furo. Just Furo.
Furo. Like we learned French growing up. I'm not sure why everyone's saying Few. Menon Few. Like that doesn't make sense to me. I've had French speakers tell me that doesn't seem right. I think it's Furo.
No, it doesn't.
Furo. Like
Furo. The thing is, they probably ask her, "How do you say your name?" She said, "Manon Fio."
Yeah.
And they hear like Fio. No, Furo.
It can't be. But anyway, she won the decision here. we all thought she'd win. I mean, it's not like it's a surprise, but I'll be honest, she got touched up more than I thought. She got a massive head kick in that second round.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck. Like, so I'm just saying, slowly roll with her a little bit. I think she needs more time to develop her. I know she's a little bit older than like Grasso. She's 31, but she's not 32, excuse me. She's only been fighting since 2018, guys. You know what I mean, Marcel? Like, I think give her another fight or two. That's what I think, man. I don't think she's ready for the champ yet. I don't want to see her fight Valentina next.
Oh, no, me neither.
You know, I think she'd get destroyed right now if she fought Val. I'm just being honest. You know, I think she's still good. She beats most of the women, but I'm saying she's doing this to be a champion, guys. You know, so we have, at this point, she's going to be ranked number 4. So
yeah,
I guess,
then they shouldn't have fast tracked her against Maya. You know,
what about Lauren Murphy? How about that fight? A very tough girl who's
Murphy's fighting Tate.
Oh, she's okay. The winner of
July.
Yeah, the winner of that fight makes sense, right?
Yeah, why not? You can do that.
Yeah. This guy's asking about Georges Dano. He got that crazy win last year against De Castro, but no idea. I mean, the guy fights once every 5 years, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
2 more fights here on the card. Both like very close decisions. First one,
both scored them the other way.
Yeah, I did too. So I know. Here's the thing. I went to MMA Decisions to see what people were saying. So maybe it was split. The fans overwhelmingly had Dvorak and Souza. Marcel, the fans. So I'm just saying, the media might have had it split, but the fans were overwhelming for Dvorak. Because here's the thing. So this fight was weird. The first round was so bad. The first round was horrible. No one did anything. I'm just saying, like, what the hell are these guys doing? Like, give a chance to elevate yourself. Did nothing. Second round, obviously Matthias with the knockdown almost finished the dude. Third round. Listen, I get Matthias, you know, he did pretty well at the beginning. The last couple of minutes, it was all, I thought, Dvorak, and, you know, I get people are saying, like, he didn't do a ton, but Matthias didn't do much either, you know? So I really thought that when the judges' scorecards came out for Matthias, it would have been the first round where it was, like, basically close, and it almost came down to the aggressiveness because no one landed anything. But it came down to the third round. All 3 of them had it unanimous for Nicolau. I'm not saying this is wrong because, you know, he might have landed more effective strikes. I get it. I just was a little surprised. I thought Dvorak would have won the fight just based on the perception of him being on top, you know? So, again, I don't have a problem with the decision. I think it was a close fight. I'm just being honest and telling you guys what I thought. So, same with you, Marcel, I guess? You have the same thoughts?
Pretty much exactly the same. We talk about this fight in DM, and we both had Dvorak. We both also said, like, was close, you know, and we both give 1 and 3 to Dvorak and 2 to Matthias Nicolau.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. I mean, I had a lot of different scorecards last Saturday. So.
Me too. So did I. I think a lot of people did. It's just a crazy card, lots of close fights. But I have no problem with Nicolau and the decision. I was just surprised it was kind of unanimous, to be honest with you. I thought maybe one of the judges would have kind of saw it the way we did. And then the last fight, you know, this one sucked because I really liked Bruno Souza in this fight. I thought he edged it out in that third round, and it was stupid because basically Saldana doing this, Marcel, like, almost, and the crowd cheering for him, I think that swayed the judges in his favor. I really do. I know that the strikes actually had Saldana leading the dance, so no problem with this one either, you know. But I thought Souza edged it out barely. I'm just being honest. Again, I have no problem with the decision, although this one hurt me a little bit. It is what it is. I have no. I'm not gonna. I didn't freak out about it. I was like, crap. I have no idea what they're gonna do. It was that close. It was like a coin flip, you know.
It's the second time Saldana got by, and not in a deserved way, in my opinion. But it was
against
close.
Jordan Griffin, right? That other fight? Yeah.
I had Jordan Griffin in that fight.
Yeah.
Another close fight. You know, I thought Souza won 2 rounds. I think I had him 2 and 3. I think.
That's what I had. But it was super close.
So,
you know,
yeah, it was close. And I switched my pick, by the way.
You had Saldana at the beginning of the week. Yeah.
But I switched my pick.
My bad.
And I said to Adam, I switched my pick, and he's like, "Oh damn!" I was like, "I still stand by it because I think he won." So
for sure, no, it's just that I think I swayed you probably a little bit. I guess I was a little bit. I don't. He was. You know, when I picked him last week,
I still agree with you.
So I don't hate the pick. It is what it is. It was a close fight. Close fight. Let's get some comments here, guys. We got a few more minutes. Okay, let's just finish up the card here. Overall, and like I said, just a okay card. You know, it wasn't great, but I think it's nice to have 2 weeks off now to recharge the batteries, Marcel. It's nice, you know. Now let's get some questions here and some comments, and I'll get your other questions too, guys. But let me just get the ones on this fight. Daniel had Souza, Joe had Souza, Daniel also, he had Souza. Saldana's he's always in close fights. Always in close fights. The fight with Austin Lingo was also close until like the end of the third round. Remember, that was also a close fight. Nicolau, that's fine. I don't mind that at all. I don't have a problem with that one at all. Also, we should mention this. Latifi the fight got canceled. He had like a stomach bug. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So my buddy sends this to me, and he's like, dude, he's like, is this real on DraftKings? And I'm like, fuck, because they've made mistakes before. And then UFC Europe tweets out saying, hey, he's sick, right? So it's crazy. My friend says, man, maybe he has the stomach bug. A couple of people at my work have this right now. And I'm like, I guess. And then an hour later, it comes out the TV had a stomach bug. My buddy called it. I was like, how did you know about this? Like, I had no idea this was going on. So that fight was going to suck anyways. But it does suck that we lost the fight. I mean, it's not good, Yeah. I agree with this guy. The last 4 fights were good, were great. I mean, the last 4 fights were fucking great, especially the Bryan Barberena and Askarov fight. And as far as the cheering Herb Dean goes, I mean, I guess they haven't watched Herb Dean ref a fight in a few years because the guy's definitely slipped. He's not one of the better guys anymore. Andrew saying using the iFight and getting Maya might be the worst thing for Fiora's development. I kind of agree with this too. It's again, she won the fight, but I was the natural progression. Now she got elevated. I know what you're saying, Marcel. Like, this is better for her because she's top 5 now. I get it, but I think she could have used that fight with I just to get some more seasoning.
It's better in case of going fast track to the title, But it's if you want to keep it slow, then it's obviously not better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Let me get these comments. Beater. Am I saying your name right? Beerty?
It's Beertje de Beer.
Beertje de Beer. Sorry, buddy. I'm trying to get it right. Beertje de Beer. What's extra Borshev team or Nama? That would be a good fight, but I think they're in different weight classes, man. One guy's at 150. Davino Nama dropped to 145. So maybe he could take a short nose fight, but I think he'll give him somewhere at 145. Anyways, yeah, I mean, that's it for this card, I think. There was also like a PFL card, which I did. Is anyone even watching PFL? Like, who the fuck is watching it?
No,
honestly, I don't see anyone tweeting about it.
I think even this week it's like all 0-0 fighters. I think
they're all 0-0 this week, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. But everyone's an amateur on this card, which is just weird. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna get a chance to be a pro, but they're all 0-0. So, anyways, this card, Von Lewis lost. And the guy who got the contract, Adam Karish, he's actually not bad, Marcel. He was in Bellator and had some really nice knockouts.
It's
and
an Israeli guy, right?
Yeah, he's not bad. Yeah. Like, gets the win over Chad Johnson, a former Contender Series guy. He gets the contract. So, do I think this guy will win $1 million? No, but he's also 5-0 as a heavyweight, and I don't understand why Bellator let him go. He had 2 knockouts. He actually knocked out Baby Fedor, Marcel, in Bellator, and they didn't sign him back. I don't get it. So, kind of weird. Borshev versus Mason Jones. That would be a good fight, yes. Or even Mike Davis. Oh, man. Mike Davis got a fight coming up? Does he have – or he was supposed to fight Herbert that got canceled. So
I think he is rebooked, but it's not out yet.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. We fixed the news. Bevan lost. Yeah, I know. Oh, UAE won. Sorry, 1 championship. That's the other thing. Yes, we got to talk about that. That was on my list as well. Demetrius looked – I mean, the first round, the mixed rules fight, it was pretty competitive, honestly. And I think his Muay Thai looked good, but he would have lost if the fight stayed standing. Second round, though, Marcel, I tweeted Cole. I'm like, Cole, this fight's over. Just gets the takedown. That's it. Marcel – as soon as it hit MMA, you knew it was going to be a win for him. Any thoughts on PFL? Or in 1 championship? Because Akiyama won. He was a plus 250 underdog over Shinya, destroyed him with ground and pound. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, I was happy to see Sohee Ham win. I think Sohee Ham is a great fighter. And she's probably now number 1 contender. Angela Lee win against Stam Fairtex was nice. You got Renier the Riddler, who fought a grappling fight against Andre Galvao, went to a draw.
Yeah.
And Renier said, if you want to do my rules, MMA, you can fight me in an MMA fight. So, I mean, yeah, why not if they don't have any contenders? And also Nicky Holtzkin fought, Dutch guy, kickboxer, famous kickboxer. He lost to a Thai guy. I don't know his name, Samsonite, I think. What I saw was a good event, Yeah, was a good event. There was some fun kickboxing fights, some good Muay Thai fights, and some good MMA fights. And for DJ, obviously, man, the second round, it was his fight. After the first round, I think we pretty much all knew what was going to happen. So
yeah, I don't think that was a surprise what to turn to MMA because it's in his world, right? So he was going to win. Let's see what else we got here. Any other questions? We'll take a couple questions. I get out of here soon. I got by Bowling League. Why did Brett Martin pull out? I don't know. Something about management.
He said mismanagement, but he didn't want to go into detail because it wasn't their fault, he said. But I don't know.
It's kind of weird. The guy's a good fighter, but it seems, I don't know, Marcel, it seems like an issue with this guy because he can't stick with the home. No one wants him. Like UFC doesn't want him. There must be something. He must be really hard to deal with behind the scenes, right? Like that's what I'm thinking. Like because when this happens, when you have a talented fighter, no one wants to sign. I'm just saying, like this guy should be in the UFC. He has a win over Josh Parisian, who's in the UFC. He has a win over Henan Ferrer, who knocked out for Doom before Ali Abdelaziz was able to get the commission overturned it the next day.
Although I agree with it.
I don't mind
agree
it, but I'm
with
saying, how did it happen the next day? Like, usually
Yeah,
it takes
true.
a few months. Anyways,
Yeah.
a couple other comments here talking about, let's see, your Ham being lead, push her in the power pound list. Yeah, Ham is good, man. I mean, you know,
She always was.
she
She
was good in
got
the
robbed
UFC.
twice in the UFC.
She had fun fights in the UFC. The fight with Courtney Casey was a lot of fun. The fight with JoJo was fun. You know, underrated.
She got robbed against Rawlings and Taylor, man.
Yeah, she should have been in the UFC, but you know, she loves fighting at home in Korea and in that part of the world. So no issue with that at all. Fun fact: Andre Galval tied for top 13. Imagine Galval versus Ferguson in welterweight. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, the guy's such a good grappler. Final question for me. No, we'll take it. Do you think Jan will ever move down in weight? He seems to weigh too long for 145. Jan versus it would be amazing. Maybe, but
he's crazy enough to do it, I think.
could be. Anyways, we'll talk about that card tomorrow. The last thing I want to talk about today, the Will Smith thing, Marcel. That's the last thing we'll talk about. We just got to talk about for a few minutes here, guys. I mean, listen, like okay, so I don't like. I do watch movies. I'm a big movie fan. This movie Coda was so amazing. Me and Nita loved this movie. I saw it 4 months ago. I love this movie, and I'm so happy it won Best Picture. The crazy thing is, it was plus 1,000 a month ago. I should have bet on it then because it closed at minus 130. So there was no value at the end. Man, I should have put a bet on it, Marcel. I just wasn't sure. I'm like, I think Power of the Dog, all the fucking, you know, these old people voting on it are going to pick that movie, which wasn't even good. But this Coda one was good. But anyways, you know, what happened last night was really nuts. Listen, man, like I'm watching it and I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like we had to rewind it and see like what happened. Because at first I'm like, oh, this might be part of the show, right? But then it's not because the guy's swearing and they're cussing on TV, which they bleeped out. In Canada, we didn't hear anything. It was all blank. I'm like, what's going on here? Then you see the international things are on YouTube and you start seeing like, yo, don't talk my fucking way. Like, that's just an extreme reaction, guys. It's extreme, out of control reaction. The guy had a mental breakdown on live television. It's really fucked up that he didn't get escorted out of the building at the very least. Like, you got to sit down and watch the rest of the show and get a trophy and get congratulated while he's trying these fake crocodile tears. Listen, man, I like Will Smith as an actor, dude. I loved King Richard. It was a great movie. I also loved Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, dude. When I was a little kid, Marcel was my favorite show growing up. So I like Will Smith as an actor, but I lost so much respect. Not that he cares what I think, but I really lost a little respect for him. It's not just me, man. My mom watched that. She called me and was like, what just happened, Adam? She's so upset. You know what I mean, Marcel? Like, people are upset, you know, about what happened. It was just wrong. Like, I get it. Like, Chris Rock's joke was an insensitive joke, but I thought the joke was funny. You know what I mean? And honestly, they roasted so many other celebrities. They roasted Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz right before that. And this guy goes in there, just smacks the dude in the face, and then, you know, just basically gets a pass. He's not even going to get in trouble for this. And I just think it just sets a horrible example, Marcel. I really do, because people are going to think this is okay to do now. They're going to think you can get away with this shit, and you shouldn't be able to. So to me, if I did this to you, Marcel, or someone else, I'd probably get arrested. I'm not sure why it's any different for a celebrity because he has money and 60 million followers on Instagram. I don't know. Give me your thoughts quickly, Marcel, and I'm going to read the comments to you guys, and we'll get out of here. But give me your thoughts quickly, Marcel.
I just actually shared a message on Facebook about it, which is completely what I think. I just think Jada's kind of a toxic person. You know what I mean? So the thing is, like, you saw Chris Rock making that joke, you know, and Will was laughing about it. You know, he was legit laughing about
and
it.
Then you saw her,
she was like, "Are they like this?" And then they give the shot to Chris Rock, so you didn't saw what happened between Will and Jada.
I know.
And then Will walked up to him and slapped him. It's like, dude, I mean, it's just stupid, you know. And people are defending it like, yeah, but he went personal about his wife's disease. His wife has a mouth as well, you know, so she can talk for herself. You know, you're not a pawn or something, you know. She can play with. Probably he is, but I don't know. But it's just weird to me, you know. It's not. It's also, he made a joke, and you could easily went to him on stage if you wanted and told him, like, dude, we don't appreciate this joke. And it would have been over, you know. You don't have to react like this, in my opinion, I think. And plus, it's actually assault what he did, you know. So he should have been booted out, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm a big Will Smith fan. I know pretty much all his movies here. You know?
He's great. Like I thought King Richard was such a good movie, and again, what happened? It just ruined the night for everyone else. Like, Questlove is a great drummer for the Roots. He won a documentary Oscar. I don't even think he remembered what he was going to say. Jessica Chastain, great actor, she won an Oscar. No one even cared. When Coda won the Oscar for Best Picture, no one cared. Everyone was on Twitter and social media looking at this. The guy is a narcissist. He doesn't care about anyone else besides himself and his wife. And there's not, by the way, you're not protecting your wife because someone talks shit. makes a joke. It wasn't even talking shit. He made a funny joke. Honestly, it was funny.
Yeah.
And how are you protecting her? Did someone physically hurt this woman? Was someone doing something to hurt this woman? Come on, man.
Adam, what's wrong?
Anyone says like, "Oh, it's just a man protecting his wife," I would do the same thing. Fuck off, you wouldn't have. Who would have did that?
Also, G.I. Jane is that bad of an. It's not even an insult.
Demi Moore was hot in that movie, man. I don't get
it. Plus, that said, I like. Would he have reacted the same way if The Rock, not Chris Rock, but The Rock?
How if Amy Schumer made the joke?
Yeah,
one of the hosts, the women hosts. Would he have gone up and slapped them too?
Yeah,
he's also a scumbag for what he did. He's an absolute scumbag. I mean, listen, Marcel. Again, I love the guy throughout the years, but
yeah, me too.
I mean, I wonder what goes on behind closed doors with this guy, honestly. Because if he's that cool with slapping someone in public in front of millions of people, what else is going on behind closed doors? And the people online, Marcel, they're like, "Oh, this is normal. This is what you do, man. Someone disrespect your girl." These people are fucked in their brains. And this is why people end up in jail, dude. This is why they go to jail, Marcel. You can't do this, guys.
Also, how you can go from laughing out loud about a joke
because
he's slapping
snapped.
somebody within 20 seconds.
He had a mental breakdown, snapped. I think there's just all this shit going on in his life with her. She's so toxic. They have this open relationship, this public, that everyone knows that she's sleeping with other men. It's very weird. And if I'm in issues, I'd be pissed too. But he should just leave her. Just leave her and find someone else. He can get anyone he wants in the world, literally. He's a great guy. He's funny. But after this, Marcel, I think it ruined his reputation. That's my honest opinion, So that's it. I'm going to get these last comments and we'll get out of here, guys. This is wrong. A lot of people here don't support what he did. I mean, it was just wrong. Insecurity. Yeah, it's just very insecure. Major issues for sure.
I gotta say,
the Oscars are a joke too. I mean, they do condemn. They do they protected these scumbags like Roman Polanski and these awful people for years, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, those things happen. No one else saw it. We saw what happened here, and this guy got applauded and given a fucking Oscar after beating someone. Marcel,
Rock handled that with so much class, man. Rock handled it with so much.
Dude, he put his arms on his back. He made a joke about it. He said, "All right, man, we'll stop talking about it." Chris Rock is the fucking man. He's a professional in every single way. By the way, he's 57 years old. You feel good about slapping a 57-year-old man in the face? That's so lame, Marcel. It's beyond lame. I just think it's super lame. Anyways,
is he 57 already?
He's 57. And I actually go to bookies.com. We have an article, guys, theoretical odds for UFC fight, minus 400 for Will Smith. Anyways, I got to get out here in a second with these last comments. Andrew saying about Smith's Oscar bait for a year. Do you think repercussions? Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't think they'll take the trophy, but they might because there's something in there saying that you can't do this, right? Like you can't act. There's a code of conduct. They could strip him of his trophy. I mean, honestly, kind of if that happens, kind of deserves it. Let's see what else we got. When Pam Lee and Kid Rock. Can't remember too much about it. I know. Listen, I'm not saying this is not things haven't happened before, but you can't just. Guys, you can't just hit someone in the face. If you think you can, don't watch my show anymore because I don't want you here. You know what I mean, Marcel? Seriously, I don't want people that are violent. Like, I get it. We all love MMA. I love MMA, dude. It's crazy, right? I'm the guy who loves fucking fighting, but it's sanctioned fighting between two people that are trained combatants. So that's a 57-year-old man. I think that's all I want to say about this, Marcel. I was hyped. I was heated up about it. I'm just disappointed in Will Smith. I just love the movie so much. It just ruined the night. It ruined the night. Anyways, I gotta get out of here. We're back tomorrow, guys, at 5 p.m. Eastern. I'll make sure to be here right on time. We'll do fight announcements. We'll take your guys' questions, all that stuff. Have an amazing night, guys. In the meantime, follow me on Twitter at MMAOB Podcast, MMAOBsRecord.com. It's on our YouTube channel. Check me out also at MiamiNews.com, Boogies.com. Marcel over at Big Marcel 24 on Twitter, and check out his Instagram as well. We'll see you guys.